After my personal struggle with food left me sick and suicidal, I was struck with the realization that food alone can't fix us. So I set out to discover what could, and what I found changed everything. After coaching thousands of clients and interviewing the world's leading experts, I realized it was time to start a bigger conversation. What are you really hungry for?
It's great.
Ooh, good one.
What am I really hungry for?
I love that question.
It's time to discover what you're really hungry for. This episode is brought to you by the Institute of Transformational Nutrition. ITN offers the first and only personalized nutrition certification program that's backed by science and proven to get clients actual results and coaches actual income. If you're ready to be proud of what you do, feel like you matter, make a difference in someone's life, and actually get paid for it, then visit transformationalnutrition.com to take your first class toward your certification for free. You get out of bed in the morning and you stub your toe before you're barely awake. You feel frustrated and bent out of shape, and you haven't even been up for 5 minutes yet. The next thing you know, the toilet is clogged, you spill your coffee all over the kitchen counter, and you find yourself stuck in traffic and running late again. What is going on? Would it surprise you if I said that you are literally creating your reality because of the way you feel? Because you felt angry and frustrated in those very first moments after you got out of bed? You created a cycle where you continually created more and more things to be angry and frustrated about. You see, emotions are very powerful things. They can completely change your day and your life. Think about the last time that you were angry at someone and then something ridiculously funny happened. You laughed and laughed, and by the time that you were done, you forgot what you were angry about in the first place, and your whole body, your whole life just felt different. This is the power of emotion. When we're tired, we often dwell on those tired feelings and we make them worse. When we acknowledge that we're tired and then we get on with our busy day, we can often just shake off those feelings and get excited and feel uplifted by what's going on. You see, it's all about our perspective on our emotions. Emotions can also change the way that we react to other people. Imagine the last time that you were in a bad mood and you were behind someone who was struggling with their groceries at the store and maybe blocking your way. Maybe you just sighed and you got annoyed and you just hurried around them in a huff. But if you'd have been in a good mood, maybe you would have reacted differently to that same individual. Maybe without even giving it much of a thought, you would have just turned around and taken another route through the store, not given that other person a second thought. Or maybe you would have even asked that person if you could help with their groceries. The point is, you wouldn't have let that experience create a lasting impact on your day if your mood would have been different. You see, this is the way that our emotions create our reality. When we are in a good frame of mind, we see more opportunities, and this can often open us up to more abundance in all areas of our lives. When people work on manifesting, they often believe that they can just think a thought over and over and that things in their lives will change. But it's not the thought that carries the weight, it's the emotion. When we feel what we really desire in our lives, we create it. When we get really angry and we want someone gone from our lives, we'll often see opportunities for that to happen. When we feel joyful, we become open to things that will light us up and bring in even more joy. One of the easiest ways that you can change your life is through engaging your emotions, rather than just thinking about what you want to change. Let's say that you want to lose weight. You've thought about losing weight for a long time, and logically, you know that it's good for you. Your doctor has told you that there's other medical problems that will probably occur if you don't lose weight, yet none of this logical information changes things. Instead, when you engage your emotions, things can change quite quickly. Perhaps your mom says snide remarks about how your clothes fit, and instead of just brushing it off, you engage the anger about those remarks, and you think to yourself, I'll show her, and you end up losing a bunch of weight because of the motivation that was caused by the anger that you felt toward her. Another example might be someone who goes out and discovers the absolute joy and pleasure that they experience when they ride a bike. This joy, this pleasure, creates a situation where they naturally become more active. They naturally begin to make better food choices and naturally lose weight. The emotions create a reality where things change naturally and powerfully. My guest today, Natalie Ledwell, is an expert in manifesting and really understands how emotion can create your reality. She's created mind movies, which are emotionally driven visualization techniques that help people connect with the emotions that make creating what they want in their life so much easier. So here's what we're talking about. We're talking about people saying, well, your thoughts create your reality. And is it really your thoughts? And something happened several years ago. I know you remember this.
Yes.
This little movie came out, a little tiny film. A few people saw it. It was called The Secret.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think people really misunderstood the movie because, or maybe not, who knows. But the fact is, people sat around saying, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, and nobody got rich. And so then what happened was people thought, well, this stuff doesn't work. Manifesting, trying to pull in the reality that you're choosing. And it left us, I think, in a big way, feeling like that's just not true. Right. And we can't really create the reality that we want. I know that's not true, and you're the expert on why that's not true. So that's what I want to dig into with you today. But first, tell me, how did you get into energy and manifesting and creating the life of your dreams?
By accident, like all good things. So my journey actually started with The Secret.
Of course it did.
Actually, it started maybe like a couple of weeks before that with a moment. I remember I was sitting at my desk in my office in Sydney, in my home, and I had all these bills, and I'm looking at my bank balance, and at the time, my husband and I had 4 different businesses. We're working our bums off. I'm like, I'm missing some piece of information here. And, I'd been a student of personal development since the age of 21, so I knew how to set goals. I knew how to be purposeful about my actions. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, we were massive action takers. That was not the problem. But it was like we were spinning our wheels and not actually getting any traction. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of action, but no result.
Traction.
And then when we saw The Secret, the biggest aha that I had from that movie was like, oh, okay, hold on a minute. So I don't need to know exactly how it's going to happen.
Right.
I just need to, I need to know what my end result is. Like, where do I want to end up? Be very clear about where that is. Mm-hmm. Be able to sit in a visualization and see myself. I have to put myself in the picture in my mind. Mm-hmm. So I have to see myself already there. But more than that, I have to feel the emotions of already being there. I have to feel what it's like to already be, living in the US, to be, being a teacher, to traveling the world, to being on a boat around the islands of Capri. I have to put myself, feel what it's like. And the more often I do that, what happens is that our subconscious mind starts to believe this picture that I keep playing in my mind, or this movie I'm playing in my mind. So what happens is that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what we see through our eyes and what we see repetitively in our mind.
I love that. So it's the same reality, regardless of whether it's happening here or just in here.
Yeah. So subconscious mind goes, oh, this is my new reality. Mm. And what happens is it starts to change our thoughts and creates new neural pathways in our brain. Mm-hmm. So our thoughts are in alignment with this new future that we want to create, which means that then our actions are also in alignment with that, because we make different decisions, because we're thinking that we're moving towards this goal that we want, whether it's the body we want or the money or whatever that is. Once everything that we're doing is in alignment with this reality that we want, we're vibrating at that frequency, then whatever is a vibrational match to the frequency that we're emanating out into the quantum field or into the universe, then automatically starts to get attracted back to us, because that is what the law of attraction is. But it has to be a consistent thing. Like, it's not like you have a fleeting thought, because that's just a wish.
I read a book maybe 4 or 5 years ago now called Conscious Language, of all things, right?
Yeah.
Really unique. And but it's an amazing book, and it just forever changed the way I say things. And I used to say like, oh, I want, and now still like I'll say it because we're human and we're not perfect. I'll be like, oh, I want to do this, and it registers in me immediately, and I hear myself saying it, and I change the conversation, and I'll say, no, I'm choosing for this to happen, right?
See, when you say want, it's not like you're going to have it. You don't see yourself with it. It's like you know that it's something that's off in the future, and it has an energy around it of not really believing it's going to happen for you. I talk about when it's going to happen. I always talk about when it's going to happen, not if it's going to happen.
When, not if. So how exact are you in that? Or do you like set a date, like this is happening? Is it like a general time period? How specific do you get with your language?
Well, when it comes to time periods with my goals, I don't believe in setting a time period, because I know that everything happens in divine timing and exactly when it's supposed to. It may not be on my schedule and when I want it to happen.
Sure.
But it will always happen when it's supposed to.
So I think sometimes, maybe it's just surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded. I don't know. But when we start using conscious language and we start choosing things to come into our life, what about the naysayers? Like, what about those people that say, you're crazy? Cynthia, you're crazy. You can't live there. Like, how? I
know.
Right?
See, most of those people end up being our family members.
Yes.
Or friends.
Absolutely.
And see, here's the thing. Most of them just want to keep you safe. They have the best intentions. They're like, okay, look, you're being far out there. No one's going to believe you. People are going to think you're crazy, so they want to keep you safe. And the thing is, when you stretch yourself outside your comfort zone, when people around you are not, all you're doing is shining a mirror up to them going, well, I'm not doing it, and this makes me feel uncomfortable.
And it's great that you put some perspective around, look, they care for you.
Absolutely.
They don't want you to fail, because then they have to deal with you, right? They want to keep you safe. It's not that they don't think you can do it or don't believe in you or whatever. And you said, who knows what they've gone through? Who knows what their conditioning is? And I think that's a really great way to just sort of have some perspective. That was really great.
There's a classic book, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's called The Four Agreements.
Yes.
By Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yes.
The second agreement is don't take anything personally. And you can't take anything personally because they're only operating with what they've got.
But we take everything personally.
Well,
whether we should or shouldn't, we do, right?
Not to take everything personally, because that's the thing. Like, often if I have friends that are sort of negative like that, it's like, and I know why you're saying this, and it's got nothing to do with me. It's just got to do with your history and where you're up to this point in your life.
How did you get to that point? Is it just awareness, cultivating awareness? Is it practicing it? Is there some tip that you can give the rest of us?
Well, that's the thing. It's like with any of this information, knowing it is one thing, but then embodying it and living it is a different thing. That's a completely different step.
Yes.
So the more that you can, like when you're in that situation, it obviously takes practice. Like I've been doing this for several years, but I surround myself with people that do the same thing. So they kind of keep me honest as well. But then I get to a point now where I don't take anything personally. It's really hard to offend me because I'm like, oh, maybe you're having a bad day or whatever, and I know it's got nothing to do with me.
I love that. You know what? And surrounding, like, it's one of the reasons when we first met, I just loved hanging out with you because I felt that energy. And you're like that example for me, and you're that reminder. You remind me that, oh, it's not about me, or it's not this thing, or it's not that thing. And you always create a bigger awareness for me. So surrounding yourself with people, not just like you, but maybe people who are a few steps ahead of you or in front of you, I think is a really great thing to do.
You don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Yes.
You want to surround yourself with people that make you step up.
Yes.
I'm a member of a couple of organisations, and my personal growth in the time that I've been in these organisations for maybe the last 5 years has been astronomical. Because I can see what's possible because of the people that I have surrounded around me, and so that I know that I can step up and more things are possible for me.
That's so beautiful.
But to have that gratitude for always being, like, I look at where I started and where I've come to now, and all of it is because, our My Movie story, when we first came over to the US to, figure out how to launch My Movies to the world, we knew nothing. Like when we started our company, Glenn couldn't turn on a computer.
I love that.
And I hadn't even heard of YouTube or MySpace or anything.
But you guys had 4 businesses happening.
We had the action down. Like, we were good with the action. We just needed something so we could get the traction on our wheels that were spinning.
Right.
You know, and being able to visualize with emotion and put ourselves in that picture was the answer that we needed. And not having to be so tied to how it was going to happen.
Just knowing that it was. But you don't need to know the how. You just need to know. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You just need to know the destination.
Yeah. Like, for example, one of those businesses we had was like a network marketing business. And so I'd written out all these affirmations about how I got to speak on stage and I got to help people make money and I got to travel and all these amazing things. You know, this was going to be our financial freedom because it was the kind of business model that would leverage, you know, us. And I was convinced that was the business that was going to do it. And then a year later, I look at our My Movies business and go, wow, all of those affirmations were fulfilled with this My Movies business.
Yeah.
And it's on the internet. And I didn't know anything about the internet. There was no way I could have believed that was going... If someone had told me 2 weeks beforehand that you're going to have this incredible life, all of those are going to be fulfilled through a business on the internet, I would have laughed at them.
See, I think that's fascinating. I love that. The emotion part I really want to talk about because, again, we talk about your thoughts, creating your reality and all of these things, but it is that emotion. But here's the thing. We're also taught, we've talked about, you know, conditioning from a very young age. Another thing that we're taught from a very young age is emotions are bad. Stop crying, don't feel. We numb out for most of our lives. It's not our entire lives if we never wake up, right? So emotions, and especially for women, shame. Can we talk about that for a second? And just shame and that fear of not being accepted and not being liked. And I have had so much shame in my life. Like, oh my gosh, Natalie. And we all do. I'm not special, you know.
Yeah, no.
We all have all of this shame. And we think if they really knew me, what would they say? That's where this whole, you know, fraud, being inauthentic thing comes from. If they really knew what I was really thinking or saying, like, you know, and we have so much shame. Or if they knew where I came from, or if they knew that thing that I said to my kid last night when they wouldn't go to sleep. We carry that with us, right? So we're talking about feeling emotions and bringing those emotions in to create the reality that we want. But what about the emotions that we don't want to feel? Are those as important as the ones that we do want to feel?
Yeah. See, like I was saying before, like I created that reality through my thoughts because... You know, whether they're good or bad, we're still creating our reality.
Yeah.
It still happens either way.
Yes.
So I think a lot of it is then really asking ourselves, is that the truth? Is that the truth?
I love that.
And really sit in and think about that. See, I think for all of us, we should have a daily practice of some kind of quiet introspection, whether it's meditation or just walking in nature or whatever that is, but to be alone with our thoughts and to have some conscious questions that we ask ourselves and then be quiet long enough to be able to hear the answers. You know, every morning I have a practice of getting up. Like before I actually open my eyes, I'm still asleep. And as we, you know, I mentioned before when we're children, at theta brainwave activity, we're very absorbent.
Right.
Well, as you're waking up and going to sleep at night, you're in theta. So as my brain starts to kick in, I start asking questions. And I've already got the question prepared the night before, whether it's what am I doing that day to move closer to my goal? If I'm writing a chapter, what's the chapter going to be about? If I have a challenge, how am I going to solve that challenge? And I just lay there until an answer comes to me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This is why I look up to you. It's why I want to spend more and more time with you. It's why I love being around you. It's, you know, I'm not the smartest person in the room. It feels really good. So thank you for this education. Thank you for helping us understand that it's not, you know, just sitting back and wanting. It's everything from, you know, the choices that we make, what we choose. It's about letting go of the how. It's about the language that we say. But more than that, it's the emotion. Yeah. It's what we feel. We've got
to feel.
Yeah.
That's part of our human experience.
I love that. I love you. You're amazing. So, Natalie, the name of the show, as you know, is What You're Really Hungry For. So tell me, what are you really hungry for?
I'm really hungry for human connection. You know, I love meeting new people, whether it's someone sitting next to me at a bar or in a coffee shop or even this exchange, where we get to connect on a soul level. We get to understand more about each other. We get to open up this conversation. And then hopefully we both walk away just at a higher vibration or at least a little bit more knowledgeable than when we started our conversation. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Natalie, you are a force. You are an amazing woman. You're an amazing example. And, Mind Movies, thank you so much for giving that to the world. Thank you for being you, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, darling.
This week is all about how emotions can change our entire reality. We discussed how emotions are so powerful, and they're really the driving force behind what you create in your life. So I invite you to choose one of the tips that Natalie discussed during our show and start implementing it in your life today. What one step can you take today to start harnessing the power of your emotions? As always, the conversation continues at cynthiapasquala.com. Head on over and leave a comment below this video telling me the one thing that you will do to use emotions to create the life of your dreams starting today. Did you like this video? If so, please subscribe and then share it with your friends. And if you want to hear more from me, including things that I only share in email, then head on over to cynthiapasquala.com and sign up for my email newsletter so you can become a part of this beautiful community of women who are discovering what they're really hungry for. On next week's episode of What You're Really Hungry For.
So I always thought, I should make a certain amount of money. I should get married at a certain time. I should do what my parents want me to do. And the equation wasn't working. I finally found myself on my bathroom floor one night going, do I even want to be here? And I still get emotional when I talk about it. I had a God moment, and that's when things started to shift for me.
The Institute of Transformational Nutrition offers the first and only personalized nutrition certification program that's backed by science and proven to get clients actual results and coaches actual income. If you're ready to be proud of what you do, feel like you matter, make a difference in someone's life, and actually get paid for it, then visit transformationalnutrition.com to take your first class toward your certification for free.